Sports Unlimited. Sports news at its very best.
Sports Unlimited, Tuesdays to Thursdays, 10:30 p.m. right here on TV3.
When it comes to talent, age doesn't matter. What they bring.
This is who we are.
I am Solis Rose Korte.
I am Izamun.
I am Natalie Fort.
My name is Alfred Okanse.
News 360, every night, 7 p.m. only on TV3.
Na tabia de kutami if you gonna buy sabe adwuma kwa adwuma na din ye bre intrasia ni mbika na de bre na tabia me no me ye me pa
many general manager ever sa company ene ma trotro dodo ene intrasia dodo nti tabia heba mesha ene tabia.
Hello, good evening to you and welcome to News 360. It's coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adisawe, Kanda. I'm Natalie Fort.
And my name is Alfred Okanse. This bulletin also live on DSTV channel 279. Coming up in the bulletin tonight.
Gunshots over land disputes at Alugbabisi in Bogota leave residents running for cover.
The Food and Drugs Authority retrieves close to 6,000 capsules of tramadol from 50 licensed chemical shops in the Western region.
Inmates at Anchorville Psychiatric Hospital in the Central Region regularly abscond due to insecure facility.
Also in the bulletin this evening, we throw the spotlight on the voluntary traffic wardens who must have lost their livelihood following expansion of tunnel in East Legon to Spintex Road.
And ahead in business this evening, the Bank of Ghana says it is unaware of commencement of operations of US-based Coins Bank in the country.
And sports vice president of the Ghana Football Association, George Afriye, relieved of his post.
And on the international front tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump warns Iran of big problems if it resumes its nuclear program. Got the details of these stories for you, including some news from the world of entertainment. As always, this bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
Let's go on to our first story this evening and straight to Bogota, where gunshots and Bogota, the Upper East regional capital, left residents running for cover. Now, information we're getting is that the aggression is reported to have been over a piece of land being claimed by sides of a chieftaincy dispute. In the area, soldiers were called in to patrol the streets as shops were hurriedly closed, with traders rushing home. There's currently heavy security presence within the township. Security forces have been on alert in the area known for fragile peace between the two Boga skins, Naba Raymond Alafia Abelba II and Naba Joseph Abeka Nonge Buri. Well, we're keeping an eye on this particular rather worrying story in Bongatanga, the police region, but we're just working the telephones to raise the regional police commander of the area to speak about this. So we're working on it. So when we do, we'll definitely bring you some more details of the happenings there.
Certainly, but let's take a look at some other stories this evening as the Food and Drugs Authority has retrieved close to 6,000 capsules of tramadol from some 50 licensed chemical shops in the Western region. Western Regional Director of the FDA, Abu Samaila, told TV3 that over 90% of the tramadol was seized in some mining communities.
This is a registered product, all right. It's supposed to be dispensed in a pharmacy. You come with a prescription. But unfortunately, we are finding a lot of them in licensed chemical shops, which are not supposed to stock prescription-only medicines and other pharmacy-initiated medicines. They are only supposed to sell over-the-counter medicines. That is why they are called OTC licensed chemical shops. However, we occasionally come across those of a higher strength, like for this one, like this 120 milligram. And those ones we are finding just few of them in the system. This 120 milligram, this is 225 milligrams. So far, this is what we have found over the period that we have been. I think it's a total of about 80 tablets. Okay. So if I have to tell us where he bought it from, we are investigating him, and he's also cooperating. And I think what has come out is that most of them, they say, like, they buy from peddlers. But our main concern is for this one, how they get them. So I think we also are working on this one so that we'll see how best we can restrict the distribution. So we're trying to put measures to make sure that the distribution of these things is properly enforced, where we try to tell wholesalers to try as much as possible not to sell prescription-only medicines to facilities that are not supposed to dispense prescription-only medicines.
Now, the expansion of the tunnel which links East Legon to the Spintex Road must have brought some relief to millions of road users, but for some, it has denied them of their livelihoods. And the following report, Kwabena Dujemfi gets up close with the voluntary traffic wardens who used to operate on the stretch a day after the tunnel was opened to traffic.
If you are a regular user of the old East Legon Under Tunnel, which leads to Spintex, then you may have come across 60-year-old Akpagotsa for 24 years, the father of three, has been directing traffic here, a responsibility he picked up voluntarily after he lost his job with a private security firm in 1993. For him, talking from motorists whom he refers to as customers, approval from the police and some major institutions around the area were all signs of acceptance, enough for him to continue on the job.
By the time we came here, the drivers, while we were passing here, some robbers have been, giving them tough time here. Sometimes they steal their cars, they steal their belongings in their cars. I consult my brother that here, if we have good mind. When one is there, one is here. When you stop the other place, then these people will go, about 40 or 50 cars. Then I will stop here, then he decide to come. By that we are filling the potholes, evacuating the waterlogged on the road. So if the drivers too are passing, when they see we are doing a good job, they give us arms.
Through him, others joined. Unfortunately, Monday, April 23, was the end of the road for them. Now that the newly constructed 8.5-meter wide tunnel has been open to traffic, motorists will no longer require their services.
It is here that we get our small arms for the daily bread. And this morning, as everything has collapsed, we don't know what to do. So we are just here to, see our customers, those who can give us help.
But were they really useful to motorists?
Very much, very much. The daily token of 1 cedi, 2 cedis. Any time I pass here, I donate. I give them something. They've been of great help to some of us here.
The 8.5-meter wide tunnel replaces the old 4-meter wide tunnel, which caused heavy vehicular traffic because it could only carry one stream of oncoming vehicles. But has the purpose for which the project was executed been achieved?
You can spend about 1 hour to about 1.5 hours in this very particular field until you get to your destination.
Okay.
So far, it's been very good. I'm using it for the second time.
As compared to first, I think there have been much improvement. If, let's say, it will take you, let's say, 15, 20, 30 minutes to bypass the tunnel, less than 5 minutes, you are through. So I think there have been much improvement.
Fine.
At first, one would have to stay in traffic for long hours before getting to his or her destination, but the case is no more. While work on the upper part of the tunnel continues, Apagotsta and his men may have to look for an alternative means of livelihood. Kwabna Edu Jemfi, TV3.
Well, this brings some relief to motorists. It's sad others have to lose their jobs. But let's look at some other stories this evening. Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Development Authority, Martin Ison Benjamin, has explained that it was the decision of the board of MEDA to select Meralco Consortium after careful consideration of documentation. Presented by BXC Consortium and Meralco Consortium at the final stage of the bidding process, he explained the criteria used in an earlier interview with TV3.
One of the concessionaires that was bidding to manage the Electricity Company of Ghana under the Power Compact 2 agreement, BXC Consortium, has sued the Millennium Development Authority over what it described as an unfair disqualification in the bidding process. MEDA last week disqualified BXC Consortium and selected Meralco Consortium, a company led by Manila Electricity Company from the Philippines, to manage the Electricity Company of Ghana under the Power Compact 2 agreement. In a letter dated April 12, 2018, the Chief Executive Officer of MEDA, Martin Ison Benjamin, explained that BSC Consortium was disqualified because the company has one or more conflict of interests and therefore cannot continue with the bidding process. In an exclusive interview with TV3 Business, Martin Ison Benjamin explained the decision to select Meralco Consortium was made after a careful analysis of the documents submitted by the final shortlisted companies.
Only two companies, Meralco and BXC, And these submitted their proposals, and the technical proposals were evaluated and presented to the board for a decision. And the board approved that Meralco must move forward. And that was the board's decision based on information available to the board.
He further indicated Parliament is expected to ratify the concession agreement to complete the entire process.
Having done that, you have not selected the final bidder because you have selected a preferred bidder. And the bidder's documentation, together with all his financials, are now looked at. And if they are in place, then the bidder is invited to come for negotiations. Parliament will also debate it. And at the end of the day, when approval is given, then we can say that we have selected a final concessionaire.
This decision to go to court by BXC could slow down the process, which means Ghana risks losing $119 million under the Compact 2 if government doesn't take steps to meet certain requirements by September this year.
So on the BXC's decision to go to court, the Millennium Development Authority, that's MEDA, has confirmed being served with a writ of summons by BXC Consortium. A release signed by Director of Communications and Outreach at MEDA, Pamela Jamson Tete, stated the matter is presently before the High Court in Accra and MEDA does not wish to prejudice the ongoing court proceedings and hence will not make any comments on the matter at the moment. BXC Consortium is one of the two companies which put in a bid to manage the Electricity Company of Ghana under the Millennium Challenge Accounts Compact 2. According to MEDA, the company was disqualified based on conflict of interest on the basis of its relationship with the Electricity Company of Ghana.
The Supreme Court has set June 7 to give its judgment on an application for interpretation brought before it by lawyers of former NCA board chair Eugene Bafo-Bonny and 4 others. The 5 accused persons are seeking full pre-trial disclosure of all documents and witnesses the state intends to rely on in their prosecution. Selom Amenya was in court and filed the following report.
The 7-member Supreme Court panel, presided over by Justice William Atuguba, ordered lawyers for the former board chairman of the National Communication Authority, Eugene Bafo-Bonny, and 4 others on trial for causing financial loss to the state to file their statement of case within 2 weeks. The Apex Court further directed the Chief State Attorney to, within 2 weeks of receipt of that of the plaintiffs, file its statement of case. The Deputy Attorney General told the court he had received the statement of cases of the 5 accused persons and has filed a composite statement in response to the issues. Presiding Judge Justice William Atuguba on Tuesday afforded the lawyers the chance to canvass argument to support their case, but they all opted to rely on their written submissions already filed.
In view of the June 7 date set by the Apex Court to give its judgment on this particular matter, what it means is that the case before the High Court involving the state and also former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni would also have to be put on hold since his lawyers are also seeking an interpretation of the same Article 19(2) ENG of the 1992 Constitution.
The 5 accused persons, Eugene Bafo-Bonny, board chairman of the NCA, George Derrick Opon, a director of Infralog Development Limited (IDL), William Tetetevie, the former Director General of the NCA, and Nana Owusu Ansao, a former board member, Alhaji Salifu Mimina Osman. They are facing charges of causing financial loss to the state to the tune of 4 million Ghana cedis.
And now, the Caucus of Democratic Governance, CDG, has bewailed the gross inefficiencies in the current salary structure, which they say has given room for members of parliament to be receiving double salaries. Now, the group is advocating a single payroll system for Article 71 office holders to tighten the loose ends and ensure efficient fiscal management.
The Caucus for Democratic Governance raised several issues with the current payroll system for public servants. Of particular interest to them are portfolios governed by Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution. According to the group, there is a disconnection between the Parliamentary Service Board and the Controller and Accountant General Department, calling for a single payroll system for Article 71 office holders.
The Controller and Accountant Department has a structure which should be overhauled. There should be a paradigm shift in the mindset of the people, and the system must be overhauled. If it's not overhauled, ministers and who are also MPs are certainly going to get a double salary, one from Parliament and the other from the executive.
The group lambasted government for being selective on corruption issues to pursue and listed some allegations which they claim have been swept under the carpet without probing. They include the cash for seat, bust contaminated fuel sale, premix fuel diversions, fake journalists in Australia, which they want investigated. The group does not understand why the CID would probe some former ministers for receiving double salary when the same system has existed since 1992.
That system of payment started from that 1993, and it is still working even 2018. If you tackle 2013 to 2016, you give the impression to people who want to bring arguments that, oh, you are doing that because you are against this one or you are against that one. It must be complete in itself. You start from the beginning and you come to the end and you have the sum total of what you want to do.
The chief convener of the group alleged the Speaker of Parliament has taken rent allowance, blaming Parliament for the press release that sought to exonerate him.
We're still live here on News 360. Let's now take a look at our MTN visual reports this evening as Nana Kofi-Owusu from Kaswa reports on a bridge which is posing a threat to both motorists and pedestrians in the Ewutu Senya East municipality of the Central Region.
This was a road being constructed by a Brazilian contractor last year and left it uncompleted. As a result, part of the dual carriage road has been washed away by erosion. And looking at it now, you can see how the road has been. The bridge here is the main bridge linking the Kaswa Township and the main business area. Now, part of the rocks that was being used to construct the road has been washed away to the main river, and it is very bad, and it's also bad for pedestrians, passerbyers and road users as well. From Kaswa, Nana Owusu reporting.
Well, a rather worrying one there. Remember, you can also send your video report via WhatsApp number 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044.
Absolutely. Let's find out how the weather will be throughout the night into tomorrow morning.
Still live here on News 360 from the News Hub here at Adisawe, Kanda. Let's take a look at what's still ahead tonight.
Inmates of Ankerford Psychiatric Hospital in Central Region absconding due to insecure facility.
Ahead in business, Bank of Ghana says it is unaware of commencement of operations of US-based Coins Bank in the country.
And in sports this evening, Vice President of Ghana Football Association, George Afriyie, relieved of his post.
And on the international front tonight, U.S. President Donald Trump warns Iran of big problems if it resumes its nuclear program.
Stay with us. There's a lot more in business coming up after this.
I am Mrs. Benedicta Foley, the headmistress of Pope John Senior High School, established in 1958, is 60 years old.
All right, thanks for staying with us on News 360. Let's do some business. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Tonight we're talking the Coins Bank. Well, the Bank of Ghana says it is not aware of the commencement of operations of the US-based Coins Bank in the country. Second Deputy Governor Elsie Awachi said the regulator has not received any application from the bank on their plans to operate in Ghana.
In making sure small denominations are given value, the US-based Coins Bank ensures customers are responsible for their coins by saving them and earning interest. Coins are accepted as deposits from customers, and the bank invests majority of the deposits in bonds and stocks on behalf of these customers. The bank has served notice to commence business in Ghana and some other African countries, but the Bank of Ghana says it is unaware of the operations of this new bank.
We as regulators of the banking industry
have the mandate to approve and license any operator that wants to operate as a bank. And to our knowledge, we have no application from a Coins Bank to operate as a bank. And if this bank, this entity you're talking about intends to operate a bank in Ghana, it is required to obtain a license from us to conduct lawful banking business.
The Coins Bank, which specializes in borrowing and lending money, currently has branches operating across the world except for Africa. Well, wouldn't it be bad to have a Coins Bank? I'm sure it will gather all the coins. But anyway, the Bank of Ghana has still been speaking, and they remain resolute in its directive to commercial banks to meet the 400 million minimum capital requirements by the December 2018 deadline, or addressing stakeholders on building a resilient banking sector to support the economy. Second Deputy Governor once again said the local banks are still open to other options in meeting the requirement. The Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana highlighted the recent regulatory development in the banking sector and acknowledged few pockets of vulnerability within the sector.
That we will continue to monitor developments in the banking sector, and where needed, we would have no problems at all in taking strong and decisive action at an early juncture to address any risks, to ensure that depositors' funds remain safe, that the financial system as a whole remains stable and resilient, and that the public interest is protected.
The central bank intends to effectively ensure that banks obtain and maintain the right levels of capital and liquidity, employ sound risk management practices, and good corporate governance.
The options that banks in Ghana face as we approach December 2018 are finite. Banks would either have to attract new investors to inject new capital. Banks would have to have existing shareholders recapitalize the banks. We expect banks that merge to discuss plans, including their human resource allocation policies.
Alhassan Andani is the president of the Ghana Bankers Association.
And the banking sector, we appreciate the basis, the economic basis upon which that decision is made. Yeah. But as I said, we'll continue to work with our shareholders, especially those on the local bank sector.
The breakfast meeting was also to engage stakeholders in strengthening regulation within the sector. Well, let's move away from banking now, and Promasidor Ghana has launched its Cowbell Gold instant milk in Kumasi. The new powdered milk variety is superior in nutritional value.
The new Cowbell Gold is a fortified chocolate powdered milk, rich in proteins and vitamins to keep body energized. The product introduced to provide consumers with the desired energy to reach out for their goals has been tagged Energy for Winners. Category Brands Manager Joseph Ashon says the drink should inspire consumers to be winners.
A lot of chocolate-based drinks, but what is the motivation? We want people to be winners. We want people to be achievers. We want people who are actually lacking energy, people who have ambition to partner with Cowbell Gold. In fact, Cowbell Gold is just a lifestyle.
Mr. Joseph Ashon underscored the nutritional value of Cowbell Gold.
Fortified with vitamins, it's fortified with proteins, it has a lot of minerals in it. That actually helps our own energy levels. It helps to boost our nutritional requirement as far as our daily requirement of energy is also required.
Patrons at the launch enjoyed free sampling of Cowbell Gold, which can be served hot or cold.
The drink itself is nothing short of expectation. I mean, they said it's gold and it tastes like gold. It's really exciting just to drink it. It's something different from what we are used to.
Promasidor Ghana has been leveraging its market leadership with a wide range of flavored milk powder products. For years, the company has been nourishing Ghanaians with its range of high-quality Cowbell powdered milk.
Well, so there's more news on our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Nanikia Mensah-Brampa. Alfred Okansi has more now.
Oh, thank you, Nanekia, for business this evening. But the Ankafor Hospital in the Central Region is in a state of disrepair and requires an urgent facelift. Mental health patients abscond due to the poor state of the facility, raising safety concerns. Adjoa Edobeo also has come through with the following report.
The Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, established about 53 years ago to render accessible, quality and efficient mental health care, has since not seen any renovation. The hospital is bedeviled with enormous infrastructural challenges that threaten its collapse, risking the lives of both staff and patients. In 2016 alone, about 26 mental patients absconded, with the number increasing to 39 in 2017. A tour around the facility reveals that those who absconded may have taken advantage of the weak infrastructure to break through the windows at the wards. This is one of the rooms at the Nightingale ward, which is supposed to be the VIP ward for the Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital. These are the washrooms of the mental health patient. I understand that this place was cleaned this very morning, but it's always leaking. That is how come you find the place in such a state. The Nightingale ward, which is popularly referred to as the VIP, was in so bad a state that even the patients had abandoned it. The road which leads to the reproductive health units of the hospital, where expectant mothers deliver, has very bad roads, posing a risk to both the mother and unborn child. The mortuary at the hospital, which was a major source of revenue, has also broken down for 2 years now. According to the medical health director, David Otosrebo, the structure could help generate the much-needed revenue to run the facility. The staff quarters is also a death trap now. Apart from infrastructure, drugs meant for mental health patients, which are supposed to be supplied to the facility for free, are now sold by some pharmacies due to failure by government to provide subsidies on the drugs.
One thing with psychotropic drugs, they are more expensive than the normal drugs. So people don't import them because government is bringing them free.
This nurse is very aggrieved by the situation.
Ever since Kwame Nkrumah put up this facility, virtually we've not had any infrastructure development. Their washrooms is nothing to write home about. The food that the patient eats, in fact, if you see it, you might even cry. And sometimes when they eat it and they are not satisfied, they feel it is the nurses who didn't give them enough food, and then sometimes they tend to even attack some of us.
The health authorities are therefore calling on private organizations, corporate bodies and individuals to offer their support to these neglected patients who may pose a serious risk to society if not well catered for.
Let's now head to the ports this evening as findings from a survey by auditing firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, has ranked Abidjan Port as the most effective business and trade hub in West Africa. The report recommends an additional $1.5 billion to expand their Tema ports to improve trade and investment in the sub-region.
The findings covered ports in Eastern, Western and Southern Africa. In the East African countries, it cited limited capital injection into the construction of shipping lines and the lack of capacity of staff to improve on operations. The report highlighted the lack of transparency in the tariff regime among private partners at the ports. However, in the Southern African countries, the report indicated that a huge capital investment has improved on trade. At the launch of the report, the researchers identified that ports in West Africa can improve if funds are injected. The Abidjan port was identified as a trade hub in the West African sub-region. A director with PricewaterhouseCoopers in South Africa, Dr. Andrew Shaw, proposed to government of Ghana to increase investment in the Tema port expansion project.
Automation has been applied. There's some sophisticated IT systems. There's some more and more sophisticated equipment within ports. The degree to which ports can be encouraged to be ahead of the curve in this regard is really important.
A senior manager with PricewaterhouseCoopers, Francois Bortes, noted countries could lose 2% of GDP if not much attention is paid to port expansion.
A lot of the larger ports, which is sort of bubbling in the 1 million to 500,000 TEU category. And what is interesting to us is which of these ports will eventually emerge as a hub. So we think that at least there's at least one port in West Africa that will emerge as a hub, and then one port in East Africa.
Reacting to the report, a director at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Chris Amedo, said additional capital has been budgeted to expand the Tema and Takoradi ports.
It is easy to declare yourself a hub,
but it is actions that will identify you truly as one. The Tema Port expansion, it is a $1.5 billion project in Tema Port, and this we are doing in collaboration with MPS, Meridian Port Services.
Recommendations from the report are to be presented to government for implementation.
You're watching News 360. We've got some sports news coming up with Thierry Nan shortly. Stay with us.
Segment is brought to you by
Hi, good evening, and it's time for us to bring you all the latest from the world of sports, and what a way to start. We're starting off in the UEFA Champions League because this man right here, Mo Salah, is actually dealing a very big blow to AS Roma's chances of getting into the final. I'm sure you'll be seeing the video on your screens pretty shortly because the man has scored all 2 goals as the Anfield club have taken a huge leap in this particular first leg in the semi-final. Johan Klopp is a man very happy.
Welcome back to News 360. In some international news this evening, U.S. President Donald Trump has warned Iran of big problems if it resumes the nuclear program it agreed to curb in a 2015 international accord. Speaking in the White House Oval Office as he hosted French President Emmanuel Macron, President Trump said the Iran deal is a disaster and insane. U.S. President Donald Trump has been threatening to reject an extension of the Obama-era nuclear pact by a May 12 deadline. President Macron is in Washington, lobbying President Trump to preserve the pact. The stark warning from Donald Trump comes a day after Iranian President Hassan Rouhani threatened severe consequences if the U.S. withdraws from the nuclear deal. Under the agreement, Tehran agreed to curb its nuclear program in return for an easing of economic sanctions. Donald Trump has long complained that the deal signed by the United States, Iran, Europe, Russia and China does nothing to halt Iran's support for militant groups in the region, such as Hezbollah. During the meeting, Emmanuel Macron spoke in French and then translated into English, saying, quote, "The Iran deal is an important issue, but we have to take a far broader picture, which is security in the overall region," unquote.
But former president of Malawi, Joyce Banda, is expected to return home this week after nearly 4 years of self-imposed exile in the wake of the biggest financial scandal in the country's history.
Joyce Banda's spokesman, Noah Chempeni, says she planned to rebuild and reorganize her People's Party ahead of elections in 2019. Many members abandoned her party. Banda has been living in the United States, serving as a distinguished fellow at the Woodrow Wilson Center and the Center for Global Development in Washington, D.C. Last July, police issued an arrest warrant against Banda, saying her alleged offenses were part of Cashgate. But early this year, the Anti-Corruption Bureau said it had no solid evidence against her, partly clearing her of wrongdoing. Joyce Banda has denied claims of abuse of office and money laundering. Police have not publicly said whether charges have been dropped. A police spokesman said on Monday the police would make no comments on the matter until Banda was back in the country. A former Justice Minister and Attorney General were convicted over Cashgate, along with a number of former high-ranking government officials and business people.
And for some more international news, visit our website, it's3news.com. You're watching News 360. Coming up next is some entertainment news with Miriam Osei-Ajman.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
My name is Miriam Osei-Ajman. Let's do some entertainment news tonight on News 360. Let's start with Talented Kids, because contestants of Kids reality show Talented Kids never cease to amaze. The fired up kids were delighted and they put up a great show. On the day, they put up performances to celebrate high life music.
It
was a day to celebrate the rich, authentic Ghanaian music genre, high life, and the contestants rose to the occasion. The Luther King Band came well prepared. Audience couldn't agree more with the choice of songs captured in their medley. And guest judge Apietus could not help but to nod along. Well, those in long-distance relationships can relate to this. Singing group Double M did amazing on the night. Bassist Pinal Dodu represented Wolome to the fullest. The audience danced their soul off to the irresistible tune of the late Irama Bidu as Ashley Chooks took to the stage. The rappers equally flowed with a high life moment.
Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Sing along, let's go.
To these kids,
The agenda to revive a high life can only succeed if Ghanaians stop patronizing Western music.
How can we do away with our own and adopt Western culture? Please, let's try to enjoy our own and stop singing the Western songs. As a result of this, we, the Aristo Jokers, want to present this citation to all the high life legends. Auntie Pana, can you please have this on their behalf? High life! High life! Go still live!
And they are definitely a delight to watch every Sunday. Make a date at 4 p.m. this Sunday as well. Moving on to another story. 9 Ghanaian women who have been channeling their passion and resources into influencing lives and effecting social change have been honored at this year's Glitz Africa. The spotlight of the event was a campaign against sexual violence.
It was indeed a night for women, and they were fully represented. Hosted by Vimbai Mutineeri and Doreen Ando, the event acknowledged leading women from different sectors who serve as an inspiration to other women and society. They included EC Chair Charlotte Osei, Excellence in Governance.
I think my parents will be very happy today because finally my strong will has brought something good.
Dr. Nanama Bans Amwa, Excellence in Health. Ace journalist Ifia Pokua, Excellence in Media. Kosi Yankee, Excellence in Public Enterprise. And Jifa Ikia Ametam, Young Star Anna. Award-winning film director Julieta Santi walked away with the Excellence in Film Honor. Claudia Lumo is the CEO of Glitz Africa.
Can't say that we couldn't achieve our dreams because maybe our economy or because there wasn't enough, support. I think if you look at the stories of these women, they've gone through a lot of challenges, but they still survive their businesses, their home and everything. And it's very humbling. And the whole vision behind this is to tell the story of Ghanaian women doing really well and to use it to inspire people.
The night was marked not only by fashion, but also great music. On the night, Efia received the Excellence in Musical Arts honor.
The message that I bring when people hear my music. I love the power that my music gives to people and my fans all over the world. I love the fact that I'm an African woman. It makes me feel so proud every day when I stand on stage. It's like, yes, kingdom.
Honorees and other speakers threw their weight behind the campaign against sexual violence against women.
You are so in control of your dream. You are so in control of your yeses and your nos. So much that one day this control will bring you onto a stage like this and give you the power to speak to hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000 women.
This 7-year-old girl was honored for her entrepreneurial skills. She creates limited edition bracelets for sale to support her dad's stroke treatment and donates to the stroke unit at the Kulebu Teaching Hospital. It was indeed an inspiration-filled night, and in the end, patrons were pleased with the serious attention being paid to the lives, profession, and contributions of women towards the development of the Ghanaian society.
Well, and on that very touching note, that's it for entertainment on News 360. My name is Miriam Osei Ajuman, crossing over to Alfred and Nutley.
Very, very inspirational.
Very incredibly.
But I want to say thank you for spending your 60 minutes with us here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Force. Visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. Remember, news at 10 will also simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Coming up next is Sadia.
Bichabiana maniaje, bichabi into maniaje rough. Minumbe mama umeka.